Okay, so for the second post regarding animals and eating habits, I would say the one that best describes my eating practice is more careful omnivorism, just because I'm quite familiar with this topic, being that I do live on a farm and I raise most of the the animal products that I eat from home. So we raise our own cattle and pigs mostly, and chickens, but we mostly use the chickens for eggs. And so I would say that I participate in careful omnivorism quite most predominantly. But like Alessia was saying, it's kind of harder to do that when you're eating at a restaurant or something, and then there I would just be practicing carefree omnivorism because I've always been a meat eater, and I don't really think about it when I go to restaurants or different establishments like that where I know I'm gonna eat meat and I don't bother to think of where it came from or read about where it came from. So I would say I definitely participate in carefree omnivorism, but I would say I definitely lean more toward careful omnivorism just by the way I was raised and how I live on the daily. And then which describes the most moral eating practice, I would say definitely careful omnivorism, because I don't believe it's morally unjust and morally impermissible to eat meat in general, so I wouldn't go with moral veganism. And moral vegetarianism is kind of strays away from just kind of what I believe, and it kind of gets very, very difficult to implement with the life depriving practice. So I would say that the most moral eating practice would be careful omnivorism, which does coincide with my first answer, but causes me to be more cautious of when I participate in carefree omnivorism. I think it's interesting how Alessio said that this unit really, he's kind of stopped eating meat just because that's the biggest problem that he has with eating meat, which I can agree with. The biggest problem would be the way it's raised and the inhumanity of it. Like I said, I live on a farm and I live in farm country here in Idaho, and I've participated in FFA and 4-H like my whole life. So I've seen these habits firsthand. I've been to these farms where I can see face to face how animals are being treated in those small confinements, and it is really hard to see, which is why my family as a whole participates most in careful omnivorism, and we focus on raising our own, not just meat, but vegetables in our garden. So yeah.